Right now, millions of Americans are about to see a change in their monthly benefits, and you need to know exactly where you stand. The Social Security Administration has just confirmed the cost of living adjustment for November 2025, and this isn't just another routine update. This adjustment comes at a critical time when everyday expenses continue to squeeze retirement budgets across the country. If you've been watching your grocery bills climb, your utility costs rise, and your prescription medications take a bigger bite out of your fixed income, you're not alone. That's exactly why this November adjustment matters more than ever. But here's what most people don't realize. Not everyone will see the same increase, and some beneficiaries might qualify for additional payment changes they don't even know about. Whether you're already receiving retirement benefits, survivor benefits, or disability payments, the next few minutes could mean the difference between missing out on money you're entitled to and maximizing every dollar coming your way. We are breaking down the exact numbers, who qualifies, and the 3 specific things you need to verify in your account before November to ensure you receive the correct amount. The Social Security Cost of Living Adjustment has been a lifeline for retirees since it was first introduced back in 1975. And what we are seeing in November 2025 represents one of the most significant moments in recent Social Security history. Now, before we dive into the specific numbers and what this means for your personal situation, it's important to understand exactly how we got here and why this particular adjustment carries so much weight for American seniors today. The Social Security Administration doesn't just pull these numbers out of thin air. There's a very specific formula they use based on something called the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, or CPIW for short. This index tracks the actual costs of goods and services that working Americans are paying throughout the year, and when those costs go up, the Social Security Administration is required by law to adjust benefits accordingly. What makes this November 2025 adjustment particularly noteworthy is the economic environment we've been living through over the past several years, with inflation affecting everything from the price of eggs and milk to prescription medications and home heating costs. When you look at your Social Security statement and see that monthly payment amount, it's easy to think of it as a fixed number that never changes. But the reality is that your benefits are designed to keep pace with the rising cost of living. The problem that many beneficiaries have experienced over recent years is that even with these annual adjustments, it sometimes feels like the increase barely covers the actual rise in expenses. That's because the CPIW measures a broad basket of goods and services, and the things that seniors spend the most money on, healthcare, prescription drugs, and housing, often increase at rates that are higher than the overall inflation rate. The Social Security Administration is well aware of this disconnect, and there have been ongoing discussions in Congress about whether the current formula truly reflects the spending patterns of retirees. Some lawmakers have proposed switching to a different index called the CPIE, which specifically tracks the expenses of elderly Americans. But as of now, we're still using the CPIW formula that's been in place for decades. So what does all of this mean for your actual payment in November 2025? Let's talk about the real numbers and how they break down depending on your specific situation. If you're receiving retirement benefits based on your own work record, the average monthly Social Security payment for retired workers has been hovering around $2,100, and with the November adjustment, you're looking at an increase that will add real dollars to your monthly budget. Now, the exact amount you'll see depends on what you're currently receiving, because the cost of living adjustment is applied as a percentage increase to your existing benefit. This means that someone receiving a higher monthly benefit will see a larger dollar increase than someone receiving a smaller benefit, even though the percentage increase is the same across the board. This is one of those aspects of Social Security that sometimes causes confusion, because people hear about the adjustment and wonder why their neighbor seems to be getting a bigger raise than they are. But it all comes down to the starting point of your individual benefit amount. For couples where both spouses are receiving Social Security benefits, this adjustment becomes even more significant because you're looking at increases on both payments. If you're a married couple and you're both drawing benefits based on your own work records, or if one spouse is receiving a spousal benefit, the household impact of this cost of living adjustment can really add up. Let's say you and your spouse are each receiving around $2,000 per month. That's $4,000 in combined monthly benefits. And even a modest percentage increase on that amount translates into meaningful additional income over the course of a year. This is why it's so important to understand not just your own benefit situation, but also how your spouse's benefits factor into your overall retirement income picture. And if you're a widow or a widower receiving survivor benefits, you need to pay special attention to how these adjustments work. because survivor benefits follow slightly different rules than retirement benefits, and the amount you receive is based on what your deceased spouse was entitled to or was receiving at the time of their passing. Now here's where things get interesting and where a lot of beneficiaries miss out on money they're actually entitled to. The November 2025 adjustment isn't just about the cost of living increase, it's also a critical time to review your entire Social Security situation to make sure you're receiving all the benefits you qualify for. There are several scenarios where beneficiaries might be eligible for additional payments or adjustments that go beyond the standard cost of living increase. For example, if you initially filed for benefits early before reaching your full retirement age, your benefits were permanently reduced. But what many people don't realize is that once you reach your full retirement age, certain rules change. If you're still working and earning income while receiving benefits, the earnings test that previously limited how much you could earn without affecting your benefits no longer applies once you hit full retirement age. This means that if you are having benefits withheld because of the earnings test, those rules no longer restrict you, and you might see an increase in your monthly payment that goes beyond just the cost of living adjustment. Another critical area that often gets overlooked involves divorced spouses and the benefits they may be entitled to based on their ex-spouse's work record. If you were married for at least 10 years and you're currently unmarried, you may be eligible to receive benefits based on your former spouse's earnings record, even if they were married. This is a completely separate benefit from what your ex-spouse receives, and claiming it doesn't reduce their benefit in any way. The key is that your ex-spouse must be eligible for Social Security benefits, and you must be at least 62 years old. If you meet these requirements and you haven't explored this option, November 2025 is an excellent time to contact the Social Security Administration and inquire about whether you might qualify for a higher benefit based on your ex-spouse's record rather than your own. Many divorced individuals are leaving substantial money on the table simply because they don't know this option exists, or they assume that because they're receiving benefits based on their own record, that's the end of the story. The Medicare connection to Social Security is another crucial piece of this puzzle that directly affects your net payment each month. Most Social Security beneficiaries who are 65 or older have their Medicare Part B premiums automatically deducted from their Social Security payments. The standard Medicare Part B premium changes from year to year, and any increase in that premium can eat into your cost of living adjustment. This is one of the most frustrating aspects of Social Security for many retirees. You hear about getting a raise, but then you see that a chunk of it is being taken out for increased Medicare premiums. However, there's something called a hold harmless provision that protects most beneficiaries from having their Social Security payment actually decrease because of rising Medicare premiums. This provision ensures that if you're already enrolled in Medicare and having Part B premiums deducted from your Social Security, an increase in the Medicare premium can't cause your net Social Security payment to go down. You might not see much of an increase after the Medicare premium is deducted, but at least your payment won't actually shrink. The people who aren't protected by this hold harmless provision are new Medicare enrollees, high-income beneficiaries who pay higher Medicare premiums based on their income, and people who aren't yet receiving Social Security benefits but are enrolled in Medicare. Let's talk about the Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount, or IRMA, because this is something that catches a lot of beneficiaries off guard. If your income exceeds certain thresholds, you'll pay more for Medicare Part B and Part D than the standard premiums. The Social Security Administration determines whether you owe IRMA based on your modified adjusted gross income from 2 years prior. So for 2025, they're looking at your 2023 tax return. If your income that year was above the threshold, which starts at around $97,000 for individuals and around $194,000 for married couples filing jointly, you'll pay additional amounts for Medicare on top of the standard premiums. What frustrates many retirees about this system is that their income might have been higher 2 years ago because of a one-time event like selling a house, taking a large distribution from a retirement account, or receiving a bonus, but their income is much lower now. The good news is that you can appeal IRMA determinations if you've experienced certain life-changing events like retirement, loss of income, marriage, divorce, or death of a spouse. Filing an appeal with the Social Security Administration using Form SSA-44 can potentially reduce or eliminate these additional premiums, putting more money back in your pocket each month. For those of you who are still working while receiving Social Security benefits and you haven't yet reached your full retirement age, the earnings test is something you need to understand thoroughly because it directly impacts how much you'll actually receive. In 2025, if you're under full retirement age for the entire year, the Social Security Administration will deduct $1 from your benefits for every $2 you earn above the annual limit, which is typically adjusted each year for inflation. If you reach full retirement age during 2025, a different, more generous limit applies for the months before you reach that age. The SSA will deduct $1 for every $3 you earn above a higher threshold. Once you reach your full retirement age, the earnings test goes away completely, and you can earn as much as you want without any reduction in benefits. Here's the important part that many people miss: the money that gets withheld because of the earnings test isn't actually lost forever. Once you reach full retirement age, the Social Security Administration will recalculate your benefit to give you credit for the months when benefits were withheld. This results in a higher monthly payment going forward, so you're essentially getting that money back over time, just in a different form. The tax implications of your Social Security benefits are another area where many beneficiaries could potentially save money or at least avoid surprises come tax season. Depending on your total income, up to 85% of your Social Security benefits may be subject to federal income tax. The formula for determining how much of your benefits are taxable is based on something called combined income, which includes your adjusted gross income, any tax-exempt interest, and half of your Social Security benefits. If your combined income exceeds certain thresholds, $32,000 for married couples filing jointly or $25,000 for individuals, a portion of your benefits becomes taxable. What many retirees don't realize is that they can have federal income tax voluntarily withheld from their Social Security payments by filing Form W-4V with the Social Security Administration. You can choose to have 7, 12, 22, or 32% withheld, which can help you avoid a big tax bill or penalties for underpayment when you file your return. This is especially important to consider when you're getting a cost of living adjustment, because that increase might push you into a higher tax bracket or increase the portion of your benefits that are taxable. State taxes on Social Security benefits are another consideration that varies dramatically depending on where you live. Most states don't tax Social Security benefits at all, but a handful of states do include all or a portion of Social Security in their state income tax calculations. If you live in one of these states, your cost of living adjustment might be partially offset by increased state tax liability. On the flip side, some retirees have strategically relocated to states with no income tax or states that specifically exempt Social Security benefits from taxation as a way to stretch their retirement dollars further. This is obviously a personal decision that involves many factors beyond just taxes, but it's worth being aware of how your state treats Social Security income, especially as your benefits increase over time. The Supplemental Security Income Program, or SSI, is a separate program from Social Security retirement benefits, but it's administered by the Social Security Administration, and it also receives cost of living adjustments. SSI provides monthly payments to people with limited income and resources who are aged 65 or older, blind, or disabled. If you're receiving both Social Security retirement or disability benefits and SSI, which is fairly common for people who worked but earned relatively low wages throughout their career, both payments will be adjusted for the cost of living in November 2025. The interaction between these two programs can be complex because the amount of SSI you receive is affected by other income you have, including Social Security benefits. When your Social Security benefit goes up due to the cost of living adjustment, your SSI payment might actually decrease slightly because it's means tested, but your total combined income from both programs should still increase overall. Representative payees are an important topic for many families dealing with Social Security benefits. If you're managing Social Security benefits on behalf of a parent, spouse, or other family member who can no longer handle their own financial affairs, you have specific responsibilities and rights as a representative payee. When the November 2025 adjustment takes effect, you'll see the increased amount deposited into the account where the benefits are paid, and you need to continue using those funds solely for the benefit of the person you represent. The Social Security Administration requires representative payees to file annual reports accounting for how the benefits were spent, and this is an important responsibility that shouldn't be taken lightly. If you're in a situation where you think you need to become a representative payee for a family member, or if you're currently a payee and have questions about your responsibilities, the Social Security Administration has specific procedures and forms for handling these situations, and it's worth reaching out to them directly or visiting your local Social Security office to make sure everything is set up correctly. Direct deposit is the safest and most reliable way to receive your Social Security benefits, And if you're still receiving paper checks in the mail, November 2025 is a perfect time to switch to electronic payment. Direct deposit eliminates the risk of lost or stolen checks, ensures you get your money on time without worrying about mail delays, and gives you immediate access to your funds on your payment date. You can set up direct deposit to go into a checking account, savings account, or even onto a direct express debit card if you don't have a traditional bank account. The Social Security Administration strongly encourages electronic payment, and in most cases, it's actually required unless you qualify for a specific exemption. Setting up or changing your direct deposit information can be done online through your My Social Security account, by phone, or by visiting a Social Security office, and it's a simple process that provides significant peace of mind. Your My Social Security account is an incredibly valuable tool that every beneficiary should be using regularly. If you haven't created an account yet, now is the time to do it. Through this online portal, you can view your Social Security statement, check your payment history, get a proof of benefits letter, change your address and phone number, start or change direct deposit, get a replacement Social Security card in many cases, and request a replacement Medicare card. When the November 2025 adjustment takes effect, you'll be able to log into your account and see your new benefit amount, verify that the increase was applied correctly, and check that all your information is up to date. Creating your account also helps protect you from identity theft, because once you establish your account, no one else can create one using your Social Security number. The verification process to create an account has become more stringent in recent years, requiring identity verification through ID.me, which adds an extra layer of security but also means you need to have certain documents available when you set up your account for the first time.